So Daniel, here he is. Welcome, Daniel. Give Daniel a round of applause, would you? 18 years of experience in real estate, 600 plus individual deals sold. Yeah, 600. You see that? Many of which were in recent years. So often you see somebody that sold 600 and it was like 29 years ago. This is recent. This is current experience. He was team leader, still is team leader of the Seavers Group, which is a group within now the whole organization that we've put together, and investor specialist amongst many, many other things. And we're just really honored that Daniel has come to be a part of our team and weave into the tapestry with us. So would you give him online some love, and everybody in this room, please just really welcome Daniel.
Whoop, whoop, yeah.
All right, my brother. So look, we're going to go into, rather than lots of speeches, we want to give you just some really meat and potatoes, right? And I asked the question of many of you on the Win team, would you like to learn how to convert these buyers quicker? Can I see a show of hands in the room if you'd like to convert them quicker? All right. So what I'd like you to do, and if you would, Lorena and Cameron, watch the feed and watch the questions. And I'd like you guys to prepare questions about what's happened that you did not sell to somebody, or that it took way longer than you wanted it to. You've got questions, and I'd like you to pose. Daniel and I both want you to pose those questions.
There's over 50 people on the Zoom, by the way. So
guys, let's see your questions that come up. The whole subject here is, how do we get these closed quicker? We, I don't know, put nearly 40 properties into escrow last month, a lot of which were Zillows, maybe 30 of them. So far this month, I think we've put 19 or so into escrow, 18, 19 into escrow, of which 85% of them this month are Zillows. We're putting Zillow deals into escrow left, right, and center. Now, with Blake coming in, with Daniel coming in, Kathy and I are so focused on the Zillow. They're going to support you and teach you how to build your personal business and how to develop a huge personal business out of this. We're going to do a huge emphasis on social media next year so that you can develop your personal business. We want you to build your personal business, right? We've just been very, very preoccupied with the Zillow piece. But huge number of leads, huge number of things going on, and we want to see you converting them quicker. The quicker you convert them, the quicker you get money, and the happier everybody is. So, Daniel, let's just run some questions, if I may. What do you say, May, when you've shown a buyer a couple of properties and they don't like them, and you just feel like you're losing connection with a little bit? You're out with them, right, and they don't like both houses. What do you do next?
I think the biggest thing is to when you're out with a buyer, I think the biggest thing is getting to know them. You're going to have to get to know them. You're going to have to get to know when they're looking at the house, what they require. Honestly, a majority of times you go out the first time, it's probably not going to be that offer. You're not writing an offer on that buyer. So here's the thing. I think the biggest thing when you meet them, and I think that we lose this because how many times you go out and you're like, oh, they're not a serious buyer. Like,
a lot.
Right?
Yeah, a lot.
You're like, they're not going to buy. When actually you have to take advantage, I would say, you take the opportunity that he's given everybody, and you make sure that whenever they're talking, you have to listen, and you have to make sure that this is your only buyer. That's it. Because I think that we go in and we don't take advantage of it, because you know why?
So much wisdom in that.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say I was at, and let's just say a lot of people were at an old brokerage, right? You're getting 1 or 2 a month. Mm-hmm. How are you going to treat this lead?
Mm-hmm. God, like it's gold.
And this is what I was telling Andrew, and I think the biggest thing is we're not taking advantage of that one lead. If they went out, to get back to your question, they went out and they found out, hey, look, this is not for us. Okay, here's the biggest thing. What are you looking for? What is your priority? And what school is it? The schools? Is it the house? You need to find out, and they have to know that they can trust you. They have to know that you're educated, because if you're not educated, then what happens is they think this guy can't help us. This woman can't help us. You have doubt. They have doubt, right? So when they have doubt, guess what they're going to do? They're going to call again on another property, and guess who's going to rotate the lead, and it's going to go to somebody else. You're going to lose information with them. You're going to lose it. A lot of times, I've seen it multiple times, and with building teams and helping teams, there's a lot of teams at the old brokerage that actually their team leads I train, I guess. I had a lot to do with them building their teams, okay? So the biggest thing is going out with them, because a lot of times I would say that how many seasoned agents do we have here? How many seasoned? There's a lot that are not seasoned.
Yeah, maybe a quarter of the room.
Okay, so here's the thing. You told me, hey, you're on a video. How many times do you see Andrew say, hey, this is what you do to the buyer? This is, you say this, and that. It comes off easy. Why? He's done it. And what did I tell you? Everybody can't do it like that. So you're gonna have to. They're gonna have to learn. And what happens is you have to, this is a team. Right? That's what I think. This is why I'm here. This is a team. And I think that the biggest thing is you have to make sure that if you have questions, if you have doubt, if you have anything, you're going to lose the buyer before you get them. So you should go to one of these seasoned agents and see, hey, by any chance, are you available? And I'm not saying that every agent could do this, because there's going to be 50 people pulling your arms. That's what Andrew told me. But the biggest thing is sometimes when you just talk to them and you teach them, and you show them what's the do's and what's the don'ts. That's the biggest thing. So for me, I'm just learning on what they want mostly, Andrew.
So Daniel's brought with him several people, many others coming. William, I don't know if you're here with us today. I think Veronica also is with us today, and Eileen is here somewhere. I can't see her. Right there. Welcome. There are some of you who are like, yeah, man, it would really help me a lot if Daniel came with me in the IE somewhere on a showing, because I'm just stuck. You can reach out, and I'm not saying that Daniel every time will, but he's available to help teach you. Blake is doing that. He just left because he's on a podcast. But Blake is doing that with multiple people every single day. Daniel is out in the field. Twice a week, he's here making calls, teaching you word by word. And Daniel's here to do the same thing. So just know that this is a tremendous resource. So Daniel, let me just go to the next question. This is something that I notice, and you're right. I'll be honest, I'm not the most patient guy in the world, which is very typical, by the way, of the personality profile of a top producing salesperson. It's also very typical of the profile of a successful entrepreneur. Most entrepreneurs are not patient people. And it's that lack of patience that drives them beyond the ordinary, right? Look at the stories about Steve Jobs. You do not want to meet Steve Jobs for a social gathering, right? He just was not a nice guy. But you're using his product, right? And he just would not stop until he got what he wanted. So for me, I get frustrated, right? So one of the issues with showing people property is urgency. How do you create, Daniel, urgency where it's not just the normal thing a realtor does? Oh, we didn't find one today, so I'll do a search and I'll send you some properties. That's like a death knell to me, right? How do you get past that, Daniel, in real life?
There's no real there's either two answers, yes or no. Like on the fence is doesn't work, because on the fence means they're wasting your time.
100%.
And honestly, sometimes you have to be blunt. And you have to be blunt.
How do you do that? What is blunt? So I'm like, oh, well, it's nice. Thank you.
No, but I think the biggest thing is, I think that a lot of agents, when they're going out with buyers, they're not confident within themselves.
There you go.
Okay. So when
there
they're not confident within themselves, now these buyers are looking like, how am I going to go with this person? And then how am I going to know that I'm not going to waste my time with them, just like I did the other agent that.
So how do I get confident if I don't feel confident? Because a lot of people looking at this maybe don't feel confident.
Here's the biggest thing, though. I think that a majority of the agents, I would say probably, especially the newer agents that have been here in about a year or two, I think the biggest thing is they think it's easy. I do. I really think it's easy. Now, if you ask me, hey, what do I do? It's easy. I don't need a script. You sent me the questions. Yeah. I didn't go study them because I think that it's easy. It comes easy to me.
It's because it's coming from within you.
Yes. Well, the problem is, a lot experience, right? But experience, when people don't understand, just like Andrew didn't build this and roll over and say, hey, this is, what I want to do. And I think too many agents, they want the outcome without putting in the work. This is the problem.
So how do we change that? For people looking now, go, look,
So
Daniel, I don't want to let the team down. I don't want to let my family down. I need to make more money. I need to get more urgency with people. I need to feel more confident. How do I change?
You have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in your career. That's it. I never went to bed. When I first started doing this, I never went to bed. When I had a buyer, you get a buyer, there's buyer leads that go out and they said, hey, you're showing tomorrow at 1 o'clock. What do? You just pull a couple properties and look at it? Or do you invest in this buyer? Do you study? Do you go into the market and see what's closed, see what's active, see what's pending, and do you do your homework? No. Half the people, I can tell you right now, they don't. If you're showing a buyer at 1 o'clock tomorrow, you wait till the next day to pull, or you say, hey, you're scheduling 2 properties and that's it. It doesn't stop there. It doesn't. So you have to invest in yourself.
So you hear that there's like an intentionality in that. Did everybody hear that? You do see a lot of agents like, I just give you an example. Like I've got a showing at 3, right? So I'm in the gym at 1 and my workout's an hour and 20 minutes, You just got enough time to go to shower, and then you finish showering, you grab a couple of pieces of paper that fell on the floor of the car and you show up to the showing. It just doesn't work that way. There's an intentionality that you have from the minute you get up in the morning. In fact, you probably wake up in the night thinking about them.
No, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. You have to do your homework. You have to do your homework. In a lot of agents, I'm telling you right now, Andrew asked me, hey, look, you know what? He had so many things like, hey, let's go. I'm thinking about going into Orange County. I'm thinking about going into this area. I'm in Arizona. What did I tell you? I said, you have a problem here. There's too many leads. Zillow wants to get more leads.
And they're giving us more all the time. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And then I've heard him before, and he's a very nice guy. He's a very great guy. But he gets pissed.
Who, me?
He gets pissed. Yeah. You want me to tell you why? Because it's not your money you're spending on the leads. Each one of these leads, if you calculate it and say, okay, look at this lead costs this amount, and you treated it like nothing. Right? And I think a lot of people, they let their current situation affect their future in the real estate business.
What do you do if a buyer wants to offer 20% below asking price? How many of you have experienced that? Can I just see online? Anybody in this room you have? Anybody online? If somebody wants to offer 20% below asking price, how do you deal with that?
Oh, well, here's the thing. You're going to understand. This is when I say you're going back to knowing the market, okay? And then you say, hey, look, this one closed at this one closed at this, right? Then they want to offer 20% less. Okay, so do you really like the house? This is the first thing I do is, do you really like the house? Who's part of the lending? I know iconnct is where. Okay, how many times have an agent this is what I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to offer this amount because of what? I mean, I'm just trying to understand where you're coming from. I'll write the offer up, no problem. And I'll send
the market's going down. I just, they want 900. I want to offer 700. I think it's going to be worth less.
And what's the reasoning behind it?
Everything I see on the news, and there's more for sale signs going up, and I really want to buy a house, but I just, I want to offer 700.
Okay, you want to offer 700. The reality of it is, if the seller, you want a seller to take a $200,000 loss on the property, okay?
Well, it's not a loss. They bought it at 420. They're just going to make 200 less than they thought.
It's an investment. Would you think about this? Now. This is what you do. You turn
how strong he is. He doesn't care, does he?
This is what you do. This is what you do. You turn it back on them.
Right,
let's switch roles.
To make me your buyer for a moment. I'm just
okay. No. Let's switch roles. You're still the buyer.
Okay.
Let's switch roles.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
Your house. You own this house that you're renting.
Yep.
It's $900,000. Would you take $700,000? No. Why do you think they would do it? Do you really love the house? It's not even that. Here's the thing. Like when somebody says, "Oh my God, I love the house," but I'm a really firm believer in when I'm showing buyers, if the wife says, "Oh, I don't like it," or the husband say, "I don't like this," then it's not the right home for them. Okay, it is what it is. And here's the thing, and the biggest part of it is you said 900,000, right? If you said, "Hey, who wants a $900,000 lead?" Everybody's gonna raise their hand.
Yeah, of course.
And the thing about it is, if you say, if she says, Cameron says, or Christian says, hey, there's a $200,000 lead, who's going to raise their hand? Nobody, right? But the problem is you guys worry about counting the money instead of doing it with passion and learning and advancing. Because what happens is you have to remember this, and this is how I treat a $100,000 buyer just like I treat a $1 million buyer. You have to, because you don't, this $100,000 buyer, I'm helping somebody. I've sold probably 4 of their homes. You know what their first home that they bought? $210,000 in Riverside. The last home they bought, $700,000. And I've had their cousins and their family, because when you love what you do and you're a genuine person and you treat somebody I respect, because I'm going to tell you.
Let's hear an amen to that one. I see some love online. That's excellent. You know, I'm going to be another buyer for you right now. Here's another buyer.
But let me touch on this. Here's the thing, though.
I like 10 questions. You got to hurry.
Okay, but the reason I brought up iCore is because when they say, "Hey, I want to offer 40,000 less," when they both said they loved it. Okay, have you spoke with your lender? No. Yeah, I'm pre-qualified with the 900,000. I understand that. Have you spoke with your lender to find out, and you guys can jump in after I'm done, and found out what the difference is on $40,000? If you really love this home, are you okay with losing it for your family to save $40 because you want to? And I'm okay. I can write it up. It's no problem.
So I like, look at that little thing he did right there. Even though he's debating it, what did he do that you noticed? Did you see watch what he did. What did he, look at his body language. Because a lot of agents miss what he just did. What did he just do?
I showed them I'm in control.
So he said, look, if it's $40,000 less, let's talk to a friend and find out how much that means. And then he did something and you all missed it. That's the point. He went, I'll write it out for you. And we miss that. You don't even know probably you have that skill. So even though he's moving you down the path to the right and you want to be on the path to the left, he's saying, I'll walk you down the path to the left. If they don't know that, they'll listen to your argument, and in the car, they'll call the agent from Realtor.com. So it's very, very astute what he did. Keep going.
Yeah, no, that's
why you're talking to, because you know what the heck you're talking about. Yeah.
See, and the thing is, I think that as a buyer's agent and then as a lender, and this is the biggest thing, I think that you're only I don't know who, I just met iCore. I don't know really any of the team here, escrow, anything like. You're only as good as your partners that you work with.
So having those partners on the phone, guys, this is another thing, and we're just giving you really practical, granular stuff. We're going to have a huge 2026. Everybody in this room can make twice as much money as you did last year. So listen to these tips. Please listen. We didn't have homes to sell last year, Doug. That was the problem. And I've just quite clearly proven that we've got more homes to sell, right? And interest rates are lower than they were last year. All of this is positive. Have your partners in your pocket. So if you choose Oscar, or you choose John, or you choose Sean, who else is here from iCore? That's it here right now. So you choose your partner, and look, again, honestly, and I'm sorry to say, I used to do it this way. When I was on my way to show, which was 7 days a week, I would text my financial friend on the way and say, dude, I'm going to meet this person in 20 minutes. Get ready. It's that, and then they're ready for you. So make them your partner. Got another question.
Actually, we didn't have text back then. You would put a list together of all your buyers and give it to Marsha, our lender, the day before, and said, I'm meeting this one at 11, this one at 2, and this one at 4.
Marsha,
I'll be on the phone with you tomorrow 3 times.
So you know what we did have?
That's what we did.
Do you know what we had? You couldn't work for me as a lender if you didn't have a digital pager. And so I would call and make sure a message went to you on that digital pager. Andrew's showing property. And you understand, Marshall did 129 loans for me in 12 months. And he must have said I was the devil at least 100 times during that year, because he had 20 minutes. If he didn't respond in 20 minutes, I called somebody else.
But he made a lot of money.
He made a lot of money. Because that's the nature of this business. So be connected with them. I've got another question for you. So here's another one that the agents come with all the time. Okay, looks good. Oh my God, payment's so high. My rent's cheap right now. It just seems to be so much cheaper to rent than to buy. So I'm going to hold off for a while. Now, I know that you guys hear this because I read hundreds of your notes every week. And you write in there, oh, they're going to rent for a while. and you put a little teddy bear next to it, right? So the question at the beginning was, how do I move them faster? Do you want people to say to you, oh, I'm going to rent because it's cheaper, and then, they drop off the face of the earth? No. So what do you do?
Well, here's the thing. I think the biggest thing is it's cheaper. It could be cheaper. Your rent could be cheaper now, right? And I think that.
So I'm listening to you, but I'm looking up something.
No. You basically can talk to them. Okay, so what's going rent? Do you plan on rent? They have no control. And as soon as nobody, I don't care what anybody says, nobody wants to be told what to do in the house that they think they're living in. Nobody. Okay, so if they do something outside, nobody wants to ask, hey, can I paint the front door? Right? It's really just educating them. The biggest thing for here is he talks about it all the time. He says intelligence, right? It's educating them. A lot of times when you educate them on where the market's going, right? If you buy now, how many people just like yourself be like, you know what? I ran into a lot of those people that said, hey, they're going to wait. And you know what they're sitting on right now? A ton of equity, right? A ton of equity. Because if you can afford, now if they say they can't afford it, that's a different story. And if they say, yes, I'm ready, I got pre-qualified, and you know they're ready, there's no way that you can't talk them into that. Unless they say, we don't know what we want to be, then you're there to solve that problem. Okay, a lot of people think about, hey, look, I live in LA. I need to live in LA. I got a pre-qualification letter, but I can't find nothing at this amount. Okay, well, how about this? If you keep paying right now, and this is I always explain it to them, if you keep paying rent, it's not going into your pockets. It's not going into your bank account. It's helping somebody else pay their mortgage off. Okay, if you now invest, and let's just say you have to sacrifice driving a 30 minutes extra, but I tell you, with the natural real estate market on where it's going, in 5 years, you can get back to LA. And guess what? You're going to have more than a down payment to move in that house in LA.
Do you believe that's true?
Absolutely.
Do you believe it's better for people to own them than rent?
Yes.
I mean, do you fundamentally believe that, or is it just because you're greedy for money and you got a real estate license?
No, I think it's the biggest investment. I think it's a great thing. Nobody wants to rent. No, I mean, look, here's the thing. I have met a couple of investors and developers that they don't care to own right now. You want me to tell you why? Because 1 year they own other properties. They don't own, I should say, live in the house that they own, the house that they live in, because they like to move around.
Yeah.
One is living in.
That's a personal issue. That's not an
issue. So that's the only thing. They own real estate, but nobody wants to do that.
Would you all like it? By the way, Daniel's going to be with us a while. Who's learning from Daniel right now? Yes or no? You learning? All right.
Can I say one more thing?
No, you're done.
If your lender does not get back to you in a timely manner, if escrow does not send you a seller estimated net sheet in a timely manner, if your title rep doesn't send you in a timely manner, you have to okay, so he's the only one. Is this the lender?
Tommy Dutcher, title. Somebody asked me today, did you get foreign today? He's got a.
This is the thing, though. So if somebody says, hey, I need a report on this. I'm driving. Is there any way you can pull it up? He'll get it to him right there. Like,
put Tommy Dutcher's info in the feed right now, and put these 3 loan officers in the feed right now for everybody. Their numbers. Yep, go ahead.
But am I right or wrong? If you don't, then you need to think about, like, okay, so what do I need to do? Maybe you're not communicating well. Maybe there's something that you're doing wrong. And if not, then maybe you need to figure out who's going to be there to answer your calls.
How many of you would like a magic key that I've never given you before? A magic key on exactly what to do next time somebody says it's cheaper to rent. How many of you would like the magic key? All right, so we're all going to go outside here.
It's not cheaper.
Like, for 5 keys. So no, I'm teasing you. So online, how many of you want a magic key? And I absolutely swear to God, this will work every time. How many of you want it? Come on, do you want it? All right, let me see online. I got one part. All right, log off the other 52 people. So how many it is, I can't see. All right, so here we go. So once you get out your cell phone, Doug's looking at me like I've known this guy a long time. What the hell is he going to say next? Get out your freaking cell phone. Get out your cell phone. I'm going to show you something that's super cool. Watch this. Get out your cell phone. Go to ChatGPT. Oh, my God. This is just so wonderful. So what I want you to do is type a question, or you can dictate it into ChatGPT. And I want you to say, go back to it here. Here it comes. Are you ready? You going to do it? What was the median? Now, I know some of you are educated in Lake Elsinore. You can't spell that. MEDIAN. What was the, that was a joke. Don't be, you all get so, Americans get so butthurt. We call that sarcasm in England. Live with it. So listen. So what, oh my God. What was the median net worth of a renter in the United States in 2015? What was the median? What was the median net worth of a renter in the United States in 2015? Do y'all get it on your cell phones? What does it say? Let's see online. Come on, let's see online. What does it say?
5,400.
There you go, $5,400. So you're standing there with your renter. You're my renter. I'm gonna say, would you do this for me real quick, right? Because I know, I understand what you're saying. I really do. Would you just go to ChatGPT real quick? Don't do it for him. Would you go to ChatGPT real quick and just type in real quick, what was the median net worth of a renter in 2015? Would you do that for me real quick? So he says, okay, I'll do it. And now watch this. Now, would you do something else for me? Would you type in there and say, what was the median net worth of a renter in 2025 in the United States? What was the median net worth of a renter in 2025? So you see that the median net worth of a renter, how much was it, guys? Do you see it? So you see the median net worth of a renter doubled, right?
Yes.
Since 2015. Okay. Could you just do one more thing with me, just for fun? Okay. Would you do it just for, can you imagine this with your renter?
Absolutely.
You're like, oh, they want to be a renter and they like me so much and I'll send them properties. What the hell happened to Americans? Get some backbone, right? So you're going to say, I can say that because I'm European, so I can get away with it, right? Yeah. But I'm an American citizen, but you could got to admit, it's like you got to wear helmets in football.
It doesn't matter.
Hang your head.
Some are going to get their feelings hurt, some are not.
And God knows what happens in that tent. Maybe you come out and, it's changed. I played rugby. You didn't have any helmets and stuff. You just fell over and passed out, right? And they dropped you in the bath and you came out of the...
Call it passion.
I don't know what's... Anyway, so here we go. Yes, Tommy. What percentage? 34% of Americans. Now watch. And I'm joking with you because it's a serious thing and I'm just trying to alleviate the pressure. Next question. And I want you to ask your clients to do this. It's not a game. I have sold over 3,000 homes, right? Which actually is probably more than everybody sitting at this table right now. Together. So I'm not saying that to be arrogant. I think you should listen. You're going to ask a third question. Doug, you're my buyer. Would you do one more thing for me, sir? Would you type into ChatGPT and say, what was the median net worth of a homeowner in the United States in 2015? What was the median net worth of a homeowner in the United States in 2015? So you thought ahead, didn't you? What's the number? The median net worth of a homeowner.
88,000.
88,000. So the median net worth of a renter was 5,000. The median net worth of a homeowner was 88,000. Can we do one last thing and I'll let you go? Is that okay with you? Because I know you're going to talk with your wife and I know she wants to buy a house and you don't. Listen. I know she wants to buy a house and you don't. And so far, your decision cost your family $83,000. I want you to ask ChatGPT one more question, sir. Ask this question. What's the median net worth of a homeowner in the United States in 2025? And how much was it, sir, 10 years ago? $88,000. Have you saved $370,000? So I want to make sure that your family, your children, and your wife have that money 10 years from now. And when's a good time to show you property? Friday or Saturday?
This is a good This is a great rebuttal for everybody when you're there on a spot and they say they might want to rent. They don't know. This is a great rebuttal. I would keep these numbers.
And the beautiful thing is, it's ChatGPT. It's right in front of them, right? There are so many logical answers. So we're going to switch subject. Everybody's enjoying Daniel so far. Yes, let's hear some more love, please. Yes. Okay. We're going to talk about inspections and appraisals. Can you mark this in the video feed so we don't have to get the video editing guy to find it? And this is a new segment we're going to do. So we're going to talk about inspections and appraisals. How many of us know that the most vulnerable points in a transaction are the inspections and the appraisals? Do we all agree with that? Say yes if we do. All right, you want me to do the appraisals first? Let's do the appraisals first. So Daniel, appraisal comes up. Appraisal comes in not at value, but below value. What do you do?
You should already know about what this house is going to probably possibly appraise for. You should also, if you're helping the buyer, you should also already have spoken with your lender, because this is what I was saying. You're only good as your partners. Okay, your lender should also know that, hey, this may come under value. Okay, so after that.
So that's a huge piece, number one, right?
Oh, just
that you do your research in advance, you know where you're at.
Absolutely.
So you know what Tidewater is, of course, right? So tell them what Tidewater is on a VA deal.
Well, I don't know in details like that. You can go ahead and speak on it.
So I'm just like a geek with this stuff.
I know you are.
So
you're smart.
You could get, if it's a VA deal, you could get a Tidewater email from the appraiser. Does anybody know what Tidewater is? If you can spell Tidewater, would you please online type in Tidewater in the chat? See, Kathy thinks I'm nasty saying this, right? So I know Annette can spell it. If you can spell Tidewater, go into the chat and spell Tidewater, right? Anybody in the new room know what Tidewater is? And anybody in the room want to sell a home to a veteran? So Tidewater is a VA initiative that if the appraiser thinks the property's not going to appraise, they'll file a Tidewater and they'll reach out to you as an agent and say, looks like there's a challenge with value before they go out. And they ask you for justification for the value. Tidewater is a huge red flag, okay? So I've closed many, many properties with Tidewater. But when it comes up, it's on you not to be emotional, but to be rational and to find empirical evidence, which is closings and pendings, that justify your sales price. All right, so let's come back. So you said be prepared. I shared the Tidewater piece. What's next?
Well, next, if the appraisal comes in low, this is a conversation with for me, even on the offers I send out. Okay, I'm gonna get back into even the offers I send out. I always talk to the agent prior to even sending the offer out. You got to build that relationship.
Ready to hear that?
I think that people send the offers and then they call. For me, I think that's backwards. I think that you should call, build that relationship, then send it off, and then say, "Hey, did you get it?" And you follow up. But this is the same thing with the appraisal. A lot of agents, they panic, right? They panic because they don't know what to do. So I think the biggest thing is, okay, let's figure this out. Here's the contract.
All right, stop. Let's figure this out. I really want everybody to hear this. You've got Kathy. You've got Blake now. You've got Daniel. Let's figure this out. So how many times, Kathy Love, do people call you and say, I'm canceling an escrow? So many times. And what does Kathy say? Let's figure this out. We're here to support you. So back to you. So you're just saying a lot of good things. I don't want to just go out the window.
Okay.
Let's figure this out.
So then you would not, I highly recommend just do not send a change of price because the appraisal came in. You have to talk to the agent because the agent has a relationship with the seller, right? I think the biggest thing that we all miss is that, and I did it a long time too, a buyer's agent is representing the buyer. That's their relationship. Seller and the seller's agent, listing agent, and the seller have a relationship. But what a lot of people forget is if we don't work together to make this happen, you're putting your house back on the market. I'm going to have to go back out and show my buyer. You don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Okay? So the biggest thing is like, hey, Yeah, I was going to call you Blake. Blake's right here. Doug, listen, appraisal's low, and Doug tells me, hey, you know what? My seller's not going to, okay, I get it. I totally understand. Okay, I totally understand. Listen, what can we do, though, to, like, whether it be meeting in the middle, whether, I don't know what it is, but let's find out what we can do to save this. Because at the end of the day, Doug, this house was sitting on the market for 40 days, right? You didn't have any backup offers. Even if you did have backup offers, you now have to disclose this value, right? So you're giving us a credit for $2,000. If you put it back in escrow, you have to explain and educate them too, and then you both come up with a plan together, right? That's why I said let's figure this out. So, hey, look, what if they find something different? We didn't even call out the bad, roofing that was on the top because my guy was a contractor. He's gonna move forward. Whatever it is, right? It's just finding out what the situation is and then where we need to be. Do me a favor and speak with yourself.
All right, so let's interject here. This is excellent. By the way, on this and the inspection piece that we'll do next, and this last one we did on buyers delaying, do me a favor, take the segment, take it, drop it into one of our AI platforms, and have it make like a one-page handout. Have AI take the main points, because this is excellent. This is years of experience. Can you do that, bud? So we'll have 3 or 4 handouts by next week. We'll just have AI do them for us. Okay. So the first thing you said was make sure you speak to the agent before you write the offer. I brought up the issue of Tidewater, which is a bit of a technical thing. Then he brought up a very human piece, which is you're going to call the agent. And I loved the way you framed it. Let's figure this out. Let's talk about this together, right? And what's happening a lot is that agents will get, well, see, the house isn't worth it. Well, my buyer won't pay. And then they call the buyer. The buyer's the last person you call when that happens, right? Right? You got to get the ice off the driveway before you ask your granny to walk down the path. So you're going to get the ice off the driveway. Everybody get that analogy? All right. So when an appraisal comes in low, and I'd like you just to interject with me here because I want to lecture this. In my mind, since 1991, when this first happened to me, I've always had 6 people who play in that game. And you're going to jump in with this. I wonder if you know who the 6 people are. So when appraisal comes in low, my first consideration is who? For you, it's the listing agent because you're very relational.
Team lead broker.
Team lead broker. For me, actually, the first one was the appraiser. So the minute I got a low appraisal, I would then request an appraisal review. And within 30 minutes, I would have defined closings and pendings. And did you hear how long I said? 30 minutes. Within 30 minutes, I would define the pendings and closings that justified my value, put it in an email, and send it. What I did in 1990, I did it by fax. So the first player is the appraiser. Did you know that you can ask for an appraisal review? Did you know that? All right, it's called an appraisal review. You can ask for an appraisal review. All right, so the first player is the appraiser. Now, if you'll notice, in my strategy, I don't do it one at a time. So most people act in a linear fashion. They do not act in a multilinear fashion. So a multilinear business system is where you've got layer upon layer happening concurrently. So here's Daniel, 100% correct with his layer. Tell your team leader, speak to the listing agent, right? So this is a line that he's running on. Now I know he does this. I'm just more like.
I think I just took it as we know the value is not there, and we just hope that it came in, because that's what's happening a lot.
So now he's going to have that conversation. In the meanwhile, you've got an appraisal review that's happening. So the problem might go away altogether. But you're not going to wait. This is what agents do. They wait 3-5 days to see if the review comes back. The review comes back sometimes even lower, sometimes higher, and you just wasted 5 days, not me. I've got a multilinear situation happening. So I'll call the appraiser. I'll call the seller's agent. Who else is involved if the appraisal comes in low? Boom. What do you say to the lender?
Well, I honestly asked, like, hey, what did you think about? Because for me, this is the relationship between the lender. This is also a relationship with the buyer. Like, you have to know, like, hey, there's a possibility this can probably not appraise right after you're under contract, and you have to find out everything about the buyer. I think you spoke about this a few weekends ago. Like, you asked them about their interest rate and what their LTV is and everything like that, because you can prep them and let them know, like, hey, if this, this value may be a little. Do you have reserve, right?
So
Also with the
watch
lender.
this. So what could John or Oscar or Sean do now if the appraisal's in 12 grand low? What could they do? Let's say we're putting 10% down.
What do you mean? As far as
So let's say the buyer's putting 10% down, the appraisal's coming in 10 grand low. What could the lender do?
I don't know what these lenders. Yeah.
So they could put less down
Less
payment.
and then you get all
And also, I will tell you the conversation I had with
lenders can get creative. So I didn't want to sit here.
No,
like, hey, what
now here's another. Yeah, don't
is
say everything. Okay, shh. There's another thing a lender could do, and I would have this conversation. I say, dude, if this thing's going to come up 7 grand short, I need you to play ball. So we're going to match dollars. Are you down? Now let me tell you something. If that loan officer says no to me, it's his last loan he's getting from me. Because I'm not saying, will you pay it? I'm saying we're going to match dollars, dude. We're going to make this thing happen. And any lender worth his salt, particularly if he's dealing with a guy who sells 3,000 homes, it's not a difficult business decision to know you're going to chip in. So I see it as it's like a bite of a cake, right? And the bite of the cake is 12 grand. So I go, where's that 12 grand going to come from? Well, first, I'm going to relationally deal with the seller's agent. Second, I'm going to go to the appraiser. If I can get it up 2 grand, I've now only got a 10 grand piece of cake. Now I've already got a commitment from the loan officer that he'll chip in $1,500. I know I'll chip in $1,500. That's $3,000. 3,000 from 10 is 7. I've now only got a $7,000 problem, but you were ready to cancel the escrow yesterday. Who are the other players in the appraisal game? Escrow. Why would you call escrow?
They want to close a deal. They won't open again. They can. Yeah.
They got all kinds of garbage fees. Escrow's got more garbage fees than a trash dump in Riverside. They're loaded down with garbage fees. What is it like? Opening the statement of the statement and double funding to double watch and hiring and there's more crap in an escrow statement than there is in Tijuana's sewers. And all you got to do is call them, right? You know what I'm saying, right? Across the border, it's like, right? You walk into an escrow company, it's like, right?
Hey, we can't.
So you got all of these fees. So you call escrow and go, look, Rich, you're my escrow officer. Looks like I got a 7K problem left. It was 12K at 10 o'clock this morning. I fixed 5K of it. What do we got we can pull out of escrow fees? Well, Andrew, look, we could do that. You charge that? Really? I've been paying that all the time. You charge that and get away with it? Yeah, we do. That's why we have our sweet building. That's why we got some sexy girl who walks around in short skirts getting escrows every day because we charge a ton of money, right? Okay, so you can pull out $600. I had a $7,000 problem. Now got a $6,400 problem.
Okay, really quick. Can I just want to jump?
I want you to, yeah.
So, basically, this is what he's doing with saying to your buyer or your seller in order without stressing them out.
So listen to him. Look how he nailed
it out.
You see this? Listen.
This is the work you're doing behind the scene, right?
All of this is happening behind the scene. Did I say yet that I called my buyer? But you have already called us saying you're going to cancel the escrow. What's your problem? The problem is you hadn't heard this training yet. Right? So come back. We got other questions. I don't want you to lose this. And I want you just to keep flowing.
Yeah, so here we go. So that's the buyer. Because at the end of the day, if they go back and they say, hey, it's $7,000 low, and you go back to your buyer and now you're
$12,000 already.
I'm sorry, 7,000, 12,000, and you get it down to 7, and then let's say you get it down to 5.
There you go.
You think that your buyer is not going to consider and appreciate all the hard work you did that you wouldn't have probably did if you weren't seasoned and didn't hear how this works?
So far we dealt with the appraiser. We've dealt with the seller's agent, right? in that conversation with the seller's agent, I want to add in a little piece. We've dealt with escrow. We've dealt with the loan officer. We've dealt with the buyer's agent. Who's left? The buyer. Did I mention the buyer? Who's the first person you call? Oh, my appraisal came in low. It's all right. I've got another property to show you. Got to wait another 60 days to get paid. Yes, I'm a wimp, I know. But I'll show you another property. And I hear it all the time. Why are you doing that stuff? There's 5 people that I spoke to, and I haven't even talked to my buyer yet. And now Daniel nailed it. So now you've gone from 12. By the way, I've done this with as much as $50,000 and closed the escrow. So watch. We both have, because we both sold a lot of property. So let me just say this quick, and then back to you. Now you can come around to your buyer. And this is the conversation I would have with the buyer. Is anybody interested? Let's say Daniel, in this case, is my buyer, right? Dan, look, you probably noticed, man. I don't know if you did or not, but the appraiser came out. God, these guys are just whatever. They've got their thing going on, right? But they came in like at 790, not a 802, right? On the appraisal, which means typically, you need to chip in like another 12 grand or so. But I wanted to save you as much money as possible, okay? So I kind of been working on it, yeah? So I asked the appraiser to look back at his numbers. You better listen to this, guys, because this is how you need to coach. All my ISA coaches, you need to listen to this. Listen to how I worded this. Appraiser came in. I didn't say the appraisal came in low. I said, look, the appraiser came back, and they looked at it at 790, and that's their opinion, right? Every single appraiser is different. And that means you'd have to, write a check for like 12 grand more. Yeah, I know you got it, but I don't want to take that out of your bank account. So what I did is I went back to the appraiser, sent some comps back to them, because personally I think he's way off. And I'm waiting on him, and they might bring it up a little bit. It's called an appraisal review, right? I learned how to do it about 30 years ago, and I'm doing that for you right now. Now, at the same time, I called the listing agent and chatted with them. And they really want to sell it, and they like you, right? I sent letters to them that, all about you, and they like you. And the bottom line is I talked to the other agent, and they're going to chip in a couple of grand, even they don't know you. And I also called your loan officer, and they were able to tweak some things on the back, and they're going to chip in $1,500. And I'm also going to chip in 2 grand, just like the listing agent. So that's $5,500. And I also called escrow for you, and I got $500 off the escrow fee, which is $6,000. So now there's only like 6 grand left, and it's possible the appraisal is going to move. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that worst case scenario when it comes to closing, you're going to need to chip in another 5K after I've done all this. How does that sound to you?
Sounds great. Let me see what I can do.
Yeah, did you see that?
But here's the thing.
The person I called was the buyer.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Even with that being said, there's one more fee that didn't get calculated for.
Let's hear it.
If they pull out of escrow and they got to go get another appraisal and another inspection on the house, they lost that $600 they paid for the appraisal, the $400 that they paid on the inspection or whatever it was. Right?
Did everybody hear this? So this is a brief summary. You and I could talk about this probably for an hour or two. We don't have an hour or two. I'd like to capture this, Cam, if you would. Find the time now. Mark it. Let's do a handout. Is this useful to you, this information? Yes? Do you want to do the same thing for inspections, or are you too tired? I know you're Americans.
Yeah, and you guys,
strong enough to do this?
Yeah, now on your buyers.
There's some Hispanics here, they're stronger. Oh, I can't say that.
On the buyer. So on the buyers, I'm just, like, honestly, you should really, really, really make sure that you're communicating with your lender, because if for some reason it does happen, like, hey, look, it just poured rain and the sellers don't want to give a credit and this is just not going to work. But sometimes you have to treat your buyer's money, your investment, whoever it is, you have to treat it like it's your own. Because if you just ordered the appraisal and the inspection and you had no plan on, if the inspection, I would set my inspection, usually inspection is 7 days, you shorten it to 7 day. And I would tell the lender, let's say, hey, let's get this appraisal going quick. Hold on, or let us do the appraisal. Let us do this, and let's work right after that. Have it done after this inspection, just in case it comes back bad. Because now you can tell them, hey, you know what? I'm so glad we didn't have you pay for that appraisal. Because if you would have paid for that appraisal and it already got ordered and we knew and we didn't wait to see this inspection report, we could be, that's another cost to you that's down the drain. And then they're going to appreciate that you care.
I would say, guys, something that I see with all of you guys online, we value you. You run these leads. We appreciate it. What I see a lot is that I want to give you an analogy. It's like you let the string run until it's ready to break. And then your buyer says, no, I've changed my mind. I want to see something else. And they're out of the escrow. Usually that means you didn't establish leadership early enough. Is everybody listening closely to what I'm saying? Because I read hundreds of notes a week. And it happens a lot that because you don't know what to do as soon as a challenge arises, you defer it, you worry about it, you get negative in your head, you say negative stuff to them, and by the time you've got the answer, it's too late because they've decided to move on to another property. So I want to strongly encourage you. I'm not talking to you because you've done it long enough, but a lot of people listening to me. You see a red flag, get on the phone with Blake, get on the phone with Daniel, get on the phone with Kathy and say there's a red flag. We've done enough of this over the last 35 years. Cliff is helping folks in San Diego too. Get on the phone with us and we will help you resolve it, but don't let it run so the string is about to break. And whatever you do, how many of you have called me when you got a problem with an escrow, right? What do I always ask you? Do they want to close the escrow, right? And if you've let it run for 3 or 4 days, they've probably talked themselves out of it or prayed themselves out of it. So get on top of it early on, yes. This is Cliff.
As agents, we oftentimes need to get out of our own way because
100%.
it's because at that inspection, a lot of times it's our own reactions to the home inspector right there explaining things. You're not a licensed contractor. You're not a professional in that industry. Let the people dictate or understand that report. You can explain it to them. Let them make the decision. You're not a party to this transaction. Our job is to get them to the finish line and get it closed.
Do you hear that? We are not a party to the transaction. Our job is to get it to the finish line. Now, look, we've got 17 minutes. Are you okay if we touch on, yes, yes, give him a microphone. Are we okay, guys, if we touch on inspections, or do you want me to wait till next week? I need to see a vote in the room. If you're okay me doing inspections, let me see a show of hands. And it's okay if you say you're okay with it. And online, if you want me to do inspections, just let me see some clapped hands. I've got one. Come on, guys. Participate with me. Let me see. Okay, so we will do it. Oscar, you had a piece of input?
A few things. As far as the appraisal, you guys were talking about getting the lender involved. When we order an appraisal, we actually get a data report. So as soon as it gets ordered, we get a shot and it tells us what the percentage of the value is going to hit. So it'll tell us like 85%. It'll give us.
You didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I knew that, but but also at the same time, like if you see that it may not hit, that call goes to the agent. Like, hey, exactly. Are you aware? So it's all that we provide and working together.
But it tells us 90% chance the value is going to hit, right? So then the other thing too, as far as the closing costs, I think it's strongly on the lender because we get a settlement statement from the escrow company. But the thing is, if you really look at it, a lot of the things are not correct on there. The buyer's already paid for an appraisal, right? It's not listed as a POC, exactly right. It's actually showing as a charge.
It's a padding.
Your days of interest when you're actually closing, we start with 15 days, but if you're closing at the end of the month, you only have maybe 2 days of interest. So you're just chopping. So what happens is that before everyone starts to chip in, the lender really needs to just get down at it and just really carve at that. And then you're not even wasting a lot of money, you know?
So again, about 23% of loans that we do close through Zillow Home Loans or through our relationship with iCore. And out of those other 77%, probably 20% of those, you guys have problems and you got a lender who won't help you. So those of you who are new, those of you here, I want you to get to know Sean, get to know John, get to know Oscar. They came here to be here today, to have this relationship with you so that you can make these deals work. I'm going to segue to something else.
Slogan you and I used to always say, and Jenny and I say it on the attraction call, and we used to say, when you own the loan, you sell the home.
Exactly right. So many of you guys call and go, oh yeah, well, it was, Bob who bought me donuts at the golf range, and Bob can't help you. And we don't have any influence with Bob, right? So, and I'm sure they don't like to hear it, but if John and Oscar are messing up on a loan, not messing up, but something's going wrong, they know damn well I'm going to call everybody in their freaking company until I find an answer.
Midnight.
At midnight. That's the way it is. Okay, but you do a lovely job. All right, so next, inspections. Let's hit on it and drive through it. Daniel, why is it that so many agents call and say something like this? Andy, I'm going to, excuse me, are you the buyer? No, but I'm an agent. I'm going to cancel the escrow because it had a bad inspection. We hear it so much. What's the problem with that? We hear it 10 times a month minimum, John. Minimum. Well over 150 times a year.
Okay, how many times have you had a house in escrow, you had an inspection, and then you say, that doesn't seem right. That actually looks like it's correct. How many times you did that? And he makes, the inspector can sometimes make something big out of nothing, right?
Inspectors make something big out of nothing? Yes.
Okay, so listen to this. How many times at the end does it say, please refer to a licensed plumber? Please refer to a licensed electrician. Please refer to a licensed HVAC company. Please refer to a licensed roofer.
Everything.
I hate to say this, but because I got some inspector friends that are like my favorite. This like a jack of all trade, but a master of none. And your job is to make sure, you know what? They'll say, hey, this needs a whole new air conditioner system. It's at its end lifespan. Well, here's the thing. You have to let them know, like even a lot of stuff is say, hey, this electrical is not, doesn't have GFI here, doesn't have this here. Okay, here's the thing. This house got built in 1983. You know you bought a house in 1983. It's going to have roof that's going to come up in 10 years. It's going to have issues with the plumbing that probably need to be changed out, right? This is the part of educating. This is the part of letting them know prior to. And the biggest thing is like, hey, look at, you know what? You don't want to disrespect the inspector in front of the inspector, right? But you also want to tell them that like, hey, let me talk to my HVAC company. There's a ton of agents that we're going to lose a deal because of something happened and it wasn't that big of a deal.
Exactly right.
It's the connections. It's the connection.
So let's touch on an AC unit. So a lot of properties fall out of escrow because of an AC unit, right? So there are air conditioning companies who come out and go, yes, $12,000 for another air conditioning. Really, an air conditioner, if you work it out, it's a tin box. And inside the tin box is a fan made of tin. And next to that tin, there's a little like pump thing that pumps something called Freon, right? That costs a few cents. And it's got some pipes, right? And the pump can break. Well, guess what? You can replace the pump. Oh, and that little fan spinny thing, you can replace those. $190 for the little spinny part, right? But the air conditioner repair companies are few and far between. They're air conditioner replacement companies. And by the way, there's a 530% markup. So what's so important with air conditioning is that you work with an air conditioning guy who looks at it and says, hey, I will issue you a fully operational air conditioning certificate before close of escrow, and it's going to cost $726. So if you have a fully operational air conditioning certificate before you close escrow, your home warranty will accept that, and they'll pay for a new air conditioner if it breaks later on. So your job, am I educating anybody here? Is anybody learning? Your job is to work with an air conditioning company that will come out and check it and say, what needs to be done to this for you to certify this air conditioning unit? What's the second major thing? Roof. Huh?
Oh, roof. The roof. Okay, so here's the thing with the roof. A lot of times, I think that a majority of the agents are the problem. Because they got a leak, and it could be a leak that costs $600-700 to get fixed. But you say, oh, they're going to have to replace it. Well, I'll talk to them. They're going to have to redo this whole thing. You're basically shooting yourself in the foot. You You have to make sure that you don't panic. You have to make sure that you're in control. You have to make sure that you let them know that you've been on millions of these, right? Because when they see that you're calm, and hey, don't worry about it.
my gosh.
I'm gonna do
When
it.
they see that you're calm, keep going.
I'll
Leadership.
Yeah, that's it. The biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. But the problem is sometimes you guys say, "Oh no, why is it this? Oh no," and you're panicking because you want to try to see if you can get them a $30,000 credit, which you don't know is going to cost you this escrow, because the seller is going to say, "No, I don't want to."
How many of you have been to Italy? How many of you have seen tile roofs in Italy? How many of you know most of those houses are 100+ years old?
Or more.
And it has the original roof. It's part of the American scam system. Oh, the clay. Clay, even worse, right? How many of you know that concrete lasts longer than clay? How many of you know the majority of the homes in this area have concrete roofs, right? Now, okay, if you have comp shingle, I understand it's got, a less definitive lifetime. But it's just part of our scam here that you got to replace your roof after 30 years. It's a scam. So you need to talk to people appropriately when you show them, hey, look, by the way, everything we're looking at has got concrete roofs. Yeah, same as the streets. Can you believe that? Roof is made the same as the street. Made of concrete. Right. By the way, we're going to have a physical inspector.
This is what I was going to say. Preempting them before
Yes.
the inspection to let
Before.
them know about
That's what he does.
California law. Property is sold as is, and let them know about the inspection coming. And there's going to be small items. There's going to be red items. There's going to be green items. There's going to be honey-do list. So while you're showing them the property, I always would tell them, we are going to do an inspection on this home, and we are going to, figure this out, but I want you to know that there will be items that come up, and California's law is property is sold as is. So we're going to figure it out.
So I'll even add on to this. I will say to my buyers, by the way, this is not theory. This is actually what I do, right? The last 3 that we closed this month, I would say to the other agent, by the way, you're going to do an inspection. We will not do any repairs. And incidentally, out of the last 3,000 homes that I've sold, 2,600 of them had a slipped or broken tile.
Does everybody know us?
Did you hear what I just did?
That's all. Talk on that.
Yeah, do it, my brother. Do it.
Do you know that majority of these leaks from the newer homes that are built with the slip tile, those are majority leaks? Do you know how easy that is to fix? No, but because sometimes it comes. Yes. There's cracked tiles, slip tiles, and people go crazy. It's so simple.
So if you tell them beforehand, look, most homes have got cracked tiles. The inspection's going to come. It's going to say cracked tiles. You're going to say, oh, remember we talked about cracked tiles, Doug? Do you see that on paragraph 76, period 2? It says cracked tiles. That's what we talked about, right? Okay, now you can deal with it. You've already dealt with it. Because you don't deal with it up front, when it happens, you're in a freaking panic, right? And let's just talk about tiles, and we're done with tiles. If you got a cracked tile, most of the time there is not water penetration into the home, right? Which you can tell by going into the attic. You can see a brown spot on the lining underneath. Or if it's even worse, you can see it drip down the wall, which it usually does. And there's a spot on the ceiling. So you said, oh my God, well, it's actually a tile. All they do is they take off that tile. And if there is a leak, they'll peel back 2 feet of tile either side of the spot. They'll then take the tar paper that's underneath that tile, remove it, replace it, nail it down, put the tiles back down, put a new replacement tile. It's about a $595 to $795 repair. Your problem's solved. And you can pay them another $395, and they'll give you maybe a 3-year cert on that roof. And now it's covered under your insurance policy. It's covered under your home warranty. Why? Just because you knew what you were doing. Does everybody understand now the word real estate professional? We talk a little differently, don't we? You're going to talk differently. So you let people know up front. Look, some stuff's going to come up, and Annette said it beautifully. You're going to have a honey-do list. Do you like Home Depot, by the way? Good, because you're going to need to go there a few times, right? And look, this is something that I've said for years, Daniel. Please come back in. I've said to people, look, I know this house is important to you. Now listen very carefully. I know this house is important to you because you're not spending enough time with your kids, right? You're spending too much time on the freeway, right? And you want to be close to your church because you're a deacon there, and it takes you an hour and a half to get there on Sunday, right? So look, probably during the course of this, because you're not buying a brand new home. Remember, you didn't want to buy a brand new home because it's $11,000 a year more in taxes. So you chose a home that somebody else has lived in, right? So the downside to that is it's not brand new. The upside is you're gonna pay 11 grand less a year. So we're probably gonna have an inspection where there's a few grand's worth of things to fix that you're gonna, listen to this, that you're gonna be fixing over the first couple of years, right? It's just gonna happen. You're gonna get a credit card at Home Depot and you're gonna fix some of those things. But I want you to have a list so you know exactly what your honey-do list is. So when the inspector's finished, I'm gonna listen carefully. When the inspection's finished, I'm gonna spend 15 minutes with him at the end of the inspection. If you want to meet me for that 15 minutes, you can, to ask him questions. But last time I got my car fixed, I didn't get down in that hole and tell him how to replace the oil filter, right? So when he's done his job, we're going to show up for 15 minutes and we're going to run over the honey-do list, right? So just want to let you know that's what a physical inspection is. Did I now frame that physical inspection? How many of you said that speech last time we did a physical inspection? Not one of you. Yeah. Well, yes, because you've got a million years experience. You get my point, you too. Yes, Doug.
After the inspections, you know, we're going to get the home, we're going to get the roof and probably a termite report. I go through them, I read them and everything. I've kind of just, years ago, I switched my mindset. Then I call my buyers, and instead of like, we're going to go through these, I always say, what are your concerns?
Excellent. Do you hear that?
Because it's kind of like opening, if you said, let's go through this, you're opening a can of worms.
23 pages of stuff that are all CYAs.
Not only that, Doug, how many times do they say, oh, well, what did you see?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And then he's already took a look at it.
So you see this experience with Doug, experience with Daniel. This is how experience speaks. So let's summarize this, because just for the sake of time. Oh, I'm sorry, Angelica. Yes. Yes. So Angelica said a very important point. That, again, you're speaking with a listing agent. They're often not experienced. So I don't know the percentile, but I would tell you at least 50% of the homes that I've closed representing the buyer, I also did the listing agent's job.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. That's what I said earlier, right? Is that we all have to remember we need to work together, the listing agent and the selling agent,
And then you
to close this deal.
And then you recruit and come to TSP. All right,
Come on,
let's
you're down
summarize
right.
this. Number one with the physical inspections. Let's see who's getting this online. Please make sure you got the QR code, because we're going to send questions about this out to you, all right? So first thing on your physical inspection, what's the first thing you learned from Daniel? It's really important. Don't panic, I heard. Stay calm. What else did you learn? Preempt. What else did you learn? Huh?
We will figure this
All
out
professionals. What
together.
else? What was that we got online?
We will figure this out together.
That was, I loved the way he said that. We will figure this out together. All right. Couple of other pointers in the physical inspection. What are the other pointers that you learned today? Yes, sir. Everything can be fixed. See, that's another voice of experience. When you approach it with that, instead of deer in the headlights, the whole thing changes, right? Anything else that you picked up from this today, guys? Sit with your client, with the inspector at the end. I want you to stop doing this. The inspection's at 10 o'clock on Saturday. I'm not going to show properties on Saturday. I want you to meet me at the inspection at 9:30. We're going to be there every minute and watch everything that he does, okay? And then you can cancel afterwards. Stop!
But the thing is,
I mean, there's 150 of these a year. That's why I'm being an ass right now. I'm tired of answering this question.
how many times do the buyers say, do I need to be there?
Every time.
And your answer should be,
Yes.
no. Oh, you don't have to be there. That's why you have me. I'll be there. He's going to put together a report. And then you can always say, unless you want to be here. Hold on.
Last 15 minutes,
You
I've
should-
sold 3,000 homes and I never attended the physical inspections ever once in 40 years.
Last part of
Until
it.
the last 15 minutes.
That's what they're going to do.
That's where you're a leader, not a follower. You don't follow me right like a little chipmunk. Oh, they told me this in Century 21 that I had to show up to the inspection.
Inspections at 1 o'clock. You go like what,
Stuff in
2:30?
your face, drinking soda. Forget it. Let the guy do his job. When the job is done, you show up the last 15 minutes like a mature man, a mature woman. You go, hey, let's look at your honey-do list.
Doug, do you got a great preferred home inspector? There you go. A great home inspector is really good. And I'm not saying that we're misleading the buyer. What we're doing is he's not going to call out little things like a broken wall plate and make this list look like this.
By the way, if you
Inspector, the new EXP form that Lauren went over today has 3 of them on there.
and listen to me
And so
close.
we trust and we
There's
use.
something else I want to stop, and I'm done with my rant. I always have to have one rant, otherwise it wouldn't be Andrew, right? You'd think I was suddenly Jesus or something. So here's my last rant. Please, if you've never sold a home, I don't want to hear you say, I'm using my lender. You don't have a freaking lender. You don't know squat. And if you've never sold a home, you don't come in and say, I'm going to use my home inspector. You don't have a home inspector. It's a guy who buys you cookies. I don't go to a surgeon and have eye surgery because I met him on the golf course. It's because he went to Harvard, right? So if you come and go, I'm going to use my TC. You don't have a TC. You don't even know what TC means. You think it's something you take when you got a cold. So stop it. So when you are new and you need a TC and you need a lender and you need a physical inspector, you call Daniel, you call Blake, you call Kathy, you find out who we use, and you plug into them so we can walk you through it. Can I have an amen in the room, please? Thank you very much. Woo, thank you, Jesus. All right, so let's make that a segment other than the thank you, Jesus piece, because people might be offended. And I need you and Annette to share a couple of things that are absolutely crucial. By the way, I want to hear a stupendous, ear-breaking, lobe-damaging, completely socially unacceptable, raucous, loud thank you to Daniel Sievers.
I'm excited about being here.
Definitely.
You're excited about you being here. Don't you move an inch, okay? Go ahead, sweetheart.
Okay.
Danny?
I'm waiting for the next slide.
Oh, sorry.
Awesome. So, of course, here's the QR code for the meeting, right? You need to check in. If you're online or in the room, please check in for the QR code and answer the wonderful question that's there for you on what you learned today. Next one.